Hi everyone, it's Julia from Talk and Play. I'm coming to you live from my home virtual playroom today. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what's behind the mask. So, just to give some background at this point in time, it's the end of May 2020, and we are about 2 months into this pandemic, which also means about 2 months from being live with seeing all of you face to face. I primarily work with children and supporting their parents in getting a better feeling or a better understanding of what's going on with their kiddos to help emotional development. Um, in the last couple of weeks, something's really been continually coming up for me, which has led me to sort of doing this live check in for parents that I hope might be a little helpful. So, one of the trends that I've seen is this sense of wearing a mask. So, I've been talking with a lot of parents and checking in and trying to support them with their kiddos through this time. And so many parents are feeling they need to be strong and all together and perfect in every area of their life. And and it's hard right now, as moms, because I'm a mom too. We're balancing working from home, we're balancing managing our children, we're balancing our own mental self-health, and it's hard. It's hard to do it all in one place when we don't have separation or space. And I think a lot of people were able to manage for a short period of time. And I think with the announcement that school's not going back this year, so our summer here in Grey Bruce, where it used to be a quick 2 months and jam packed with lots of activities and going to beaches and going to camps, is now home. And I think the weight of that has really started to settle in on all of us. So I'm just going to take a deep breath because it is pretty big. And that's a piece that I do a lot with kiddos, with parents, in my own life. I'm constantly breathing, where when I need a minute to just kind of take a pause, I take a breath. So the reason I wanted to talk to parents a little bit about this is just to reflect on the importance of showing what's behind the mask. So, accompanying this week as well is a slideshow with a bunch of real emotions and masks. So, the masks are all masks that I've made in session with other kiddos. And I'm wearing the different masks, and I have different facial expressions on underneath. But it's showing that with the mask, you can't feel what's going on underneath. And there's such a disconnect when that happens. So, a lot of the discussions I've been having with parents lately has been that kids' behavior are really struggling. They're escalating during this point, and especially in the last couple of weeks. And I think it makes sense because parents kept it together, solid, for almost 2 months. And then with the news that this is going longer and longer, that's really weighed down on people. And I think it's been hard to try to reconcile those pieces. So for kids, and this is for me why I have to stay virtual and not go back into the playroom at this point. If my face is covered, if the kids' faces are covered, we can't feel each other. So much of relationship and connection is about you seeing me, you seeing your kiddo, and your kiddo connecting to you. And if it feels like you're wearing a mask because you're trying to keep it all in, all pushed down, all strong, your kids are feeling that mask and they're feeling a disconnect to you, which makes them feel scared. Because if we don't know what's going on, if we don't know what's behind the mask, it creates a sense of uncertainty. And when we don't know, we fill in the blanks. And for kids, they usually fill in the blanks, if you know, with not always the most accurate information. So if they don't know what you're feeling, they're going to make it all about them. Maybe it is partly about them, but I think it's all partly about all this stuff that we're holding too. So my biggest encouragement for parents is to let down the mask, to let your kiddos see you. You don't have to be perfect. I am not perfect. I'm not perfect as a parent. And I'm most importantly not perfect as a play therapist. There have been times, both in my home life with my kids and in sessions with kiddos that I work with, that I mess up. And when I mess up, I feel it and the kids feel it. And I think there's a couple of ways that people as adults deal with that. They either wall up and go, man, I'm the worst. Like, I totally messed up. I screwed up. And they beat themselves up like to no end. Maybe you're recognizing yourself in that. You can take a deep breath again. Because this other idea is something a little different. So when I call that mess up, is I call it a rupture, because all kinds of things break or rupture in life. But the beauty becomes in the repair. So the repair is what you do after you have those thoughts of, oh, I just messed up. If you can name it, and I'll be honest, I've said things wrong. I've called kids the wrong name. I've cried. I've yelled. I've done all kinds of things with my own kids that I'd be worried about sharing without fear of judgment. And that's me being honest. But if we can, in that moment, speak to it and say to the kiddo in front of us, take that deep breath and go, you know what? I'm sorry. That's not what I wanted to say, do, or be. And then take a moment. And if you need to say to the kiddo, can mom, can dad take a couple of minutes? I just need to regroup so that I can come back and try that again. And then do it. The power in that for your kiddos is worth so much more than you being perfect. If you can be imperfect, make a mistake, rupture that relationship, see it, feel it, accept it, and fix it. That's a gift that you're going to be sharing with your kids that is not going to only help them now, but is going to help them through their whole lives. You're telling them they don't need to be perfect, because you know what? I'm not perfect. And that's okay. I'm still good with me. You like me. I like me. I make mistakes, and that's okay. I fall apart, and that's okay. Because I can pull myself back together. I can talk about why I fell apart, what I want you to know about me, and how I hope we can move ahead. If you can do that with your kiddos, with your partners, even with your bosses, if there's struggles and stress about having to go back to work, but you're trying to balance, how am I going to do that because there's nowhere for my kids to go? Take a deep breath. Be honest with what you're feeling and try to share it as genuinely as you can. I get it's going to be scary. But if you can do that, you're going to be one step closer to taking the mask off and feeling way more connected to those in your environment and much stronger in yourself.